Please turn your sound on to hear full explanations of our answers. Thank you. The question is, my tinnitus is driving me crazy, how to cure it? And this is my answer and what I have to say. It's two parts: intensity reduction and learn how to cope with it. Now, let me explain. Intensity reduction is all about there are many cofactors that are involved in tinnitus. The primary thing is that you have hearing damage, and everybody with tinnitus has a level of hearing damage, which you cannot do anything about. You cannot get your hearing back from what it used to be. Not until we have the medical technology that allows us to grow new hair cells and transplant them. Because hair cells are actually what gets damaged in your ear when you lose your hearing, when the hearing gets damaged. But there are a bunch of secondary cofactors which go a long way to explaining why not everyone with hearing damage actually goes on to get tinnitus. I believe that is a major explanation. And if you attack all these secondary cofactors, then you can get a significant reduction in your tinnitus. One cofactor alone might not make that much of a difference, but when you put like 20 of them together, then you can reduce your tinnitus intensity by 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 points. If you were to rate your tinnitus now from 0 to 10, 1 to 10, and if it's driving you crazy, I would say you're probably thinking it's like a 7, 8, or a 9, or even higher, then you could get it down by 2 or 3 points. And I think you'll agree with me, that would make quite a big difference to you. There are various things. There are things in your diet you can change. One of the big ones in your diet is all food, or a lot of food, contains salicylic acid, and you want to look to reduce the levels of salicylic acid in your diet. And this is a naturally occurring substance that normally doesn't do any damage at all, but if you have tinnitus, then it can be very bad for you. It can aggravate your symptoms. Another is your environment around you. There are some things in your environment that can affect your tinnitus. For example, even some types of electronic device can contribute to some people's tinnitus. There is also your lifestyle as well. When I say lifestyle, what I mean is there are certain things in your life that could be aggravating your tinnitus. For example, did you know that toothpaste for sensitive teeth actually is a secondary cofactor? It aggravates tinnitus, and you need to stop using this kind of toothpaste if you're using it. But that's just one example of many. So diet, lifestyle, environment. Another one is supplementation. Tinnitus sufferers, for example, are known to be deficient in magnesium, so it's definitely worth trying a magnesium supplement, such as, for example, magnesium citrate. Try that and see if you get a benefit from it. There are many different things, and I've just only explained broadly out of 4 groups some of them. And if you were to try all of these things, and there are many, there are like maybe up to 50 and possibly more, and if you were to do all these things, you can get a great reduction in your intensity. And if you feel like you're going crazy now, then it's really going to help you. Now, the other thing, the second part is learning how to cope with it. Now, what I want to say here is this is not defeatism. Learning how to cope with something ordinarily, if you have like some kind of other medical condition or an injury and you learn how to cope with it, that basically means that you're changing your life to accommodate it. And in a way, you're admitting defeat because you can't do anything about it, so you're trying to adapt the best that you can. But when it comes to tinnitus, that is not what coping is all about. It is a totally different thing. With tinnitus, the more that you let it affect you, the more that you get aggravated by it, the worse it will be for you. It is what's called a negative feedback loop, and the more that you get stressed by it, then the greater the intensity will be, and the more that you will then get stressed by it, get stressed by it even more, and the greater and it will just keep going like this. It's a vicious circle, and this is something that happens with tinnitus. And an analogy I like to make is if you can imagine yourself sitting in a doctor's surgery in a waiting room, and you're waiting for your turn, and someone is there and they've got a baby and the baby's just crying, or maybe you're sitting on an airplane and you're not many seats away from a baby. Now there's 2 ways of coping with that, okay? One is to get extremely annoyed by it, maybe a little bit at first, but the longer that you're forced to sit near this baby, the more and more you get angry and stressed out by it. But there's another way, okay? If you learn how to accept that baby crying, then it won't actually annoy you if you just accept it. This sounds kind of wishy-washy, but it isn't, and this works for many other things in life. It actually is really just about stress generally. For example, in a workplace stress situation, have you ever seen it, maybe yourself or maybe other people? You see two people in an environment that is not especially hugely stressful, it's just moderately stressful, like most workplaces are. And you got one person who goes pretty much absolutely crazy. They are just getting so stressed by it. And then you got another person who somehow seems able to deflect it, doesn't appear to get as affected. And that is all about, okay, the guy who's not affected, he may be a natural, but it doesn't matter. You can learn to be like him. You can learn in the same way to cope with tinnitus. And when you learn to cope with it and don't get stressed by it, it actually, when you do it perfectly, let me tell you, it almost becomes irrelevant to your life. And effectively, in many ways, you're cured, because what you do is you filter out this tinnitus. It's like you don't let it become a part of your life. And that's not wishy-washy. There are many people who do this, and they've been where you are now. They felt like they're going crazy, and they're now fine. They're not absolutely fine. And sometimes they have to even almost remind themselves that they have tinnitus, because it's not something that they notice every single day anymore. It really plays a very tiny part in their lives now. So those are the two ways. Intensity reduction, learning how to cope with it. I hope you found this video interesting. Listen, if you, following on from those two methods that I was talking about, if you want to use those two methods to the max, following a structured program to get relief from your tinnitus, and maybe even do it so well that you're effectively cured, then please have a look down below. I'll put a link in the description box, and if you click on that link, it'll take you to a site that has helped thousands of tinnitus sufferers to do exactly that, to get that relief, and in some cases even be effectively cured, in their opinion. So please have a look, because I know that you're going to benefit from it. Just click on that link down there, check it out. I think you'll be blown away, but definitely you'll be on the right path to getting relief from your tinnitus, and it won't drive you crazy anymore. So have a look, check